Welcome back to Mac Talks of Football, and Bayern Munich have just edged past Flamengo in their round of 16 game of the Club World Cup, and they have qualified for the quarterfinals. They are going to play PSG in that game. That is going to be some entertaining quarterfinal. But today's game, I mean, it was a really great game of football. A full credit to Flamengo, the way that they turned up, the way that they played against Bayern Munich. I mean, you sort of expected, that to happen. Flamengo have been really good throughout the tournament. They came in this game undefeated, and you sort of expected them to, to give Bayern Munich a tough time, and they certainly lived up to their expectation. I mean, unfortunately for them, the start of the game was not that good. I mean, I just don't know what happened to them. I think they showed just too much respect to Bayern Munich in the early stages of that game, and Bayern Munich took advantage of that. The first goal, unfortunately, it turned out to be an own goal, and the second goal, I mean, the first goal I can understand. It happened in the game of football, but the second goal is where the one in my opinion that really put them on the back foot, losing the ball so in such a lousy way, to be very honest with you. And the ball goes to Harry Kane, and he slows it past the goalkeeper, makes it 2-0 inside 10 minutes. And at that moment, you thought, maybe Bayern Munich are going to make an easy, a game out of it, and it's not going to be a tough time for them. But as I said, full credit to Flamengo. They came back into the game. They really, after that early shock, they started to come back into the game. And after that, it was a really tough game for Bayern Munich. I mean, every 50-50 challenge, every 50-50 tackle, whatever, loose ball, whatever it was, a completely fought on. They gave their hearts out, the Flamengo players, and this sort of came back into the game midway through the first half, around the 30-minute mark. They scored that goal, and it becomes a 2-1, and you're thinking, maybe Flamengo are going to come back. Unfortunately for them, they give the ball sort of yet again. I mean, all the 4 goals, if you look at the game, the Bayern Munich scored, most of them, all of them came sort of from Flamengo's mistake. Goretzka scores that goal just before halftime to make it at 3-1, and you are thinking at that moment, maybe again, Bayern Munich restored their 2-goal lead. But second half comes in, and Flamengo were, in my opinion, much better in that second half. They start the game, or second half on a positive note. They were the ones trying to get back into the game, and they were the ones creating chances. Bayern Munich, in my opinion, throughout that 90 minutes, Bayern Munich were never really in that control of the game where you can say that Bayern controlled the game, and it was very calm. It was never really calm. Flamengo, throughout that 90 minutes, they were on them, and Bayern Munich had to really about their socks off. They had to play their heart out to stay in that game, and to stay ahead of the game. They get the penalty. Michael Olise, quite a stupid thing to do, getting your arm up like that, gives away the penalty. It becomes Jorginho steps up, scores the goal, becomes a 3-2, and at that moment in time, I really thought Flamengo were going to get a goal back, and the next 5 to 10 minutes were really really good for Flamengo. But unfortunately for them, they were just not really able to get that final ball, get that killer pass to really finish to get that third goal and make it 3-3 and put more pressure on Bayern Munich. And unfortunately, they shot themselves in the foot yet again for that 4th goal. I mean, giving away the ball so cheaply in that such a dangerous area, especially when a player like Harry Kane is there. You cannot do that. It doesn't matter whichever team you are. It doesn't matter what about the situation of the game is, what tournament you are playing. You cannot just do that. And they did it not once, not twice, but 3 times in that game. They gave away the ball so cheaply in that dangerous area. 2 times Harry Kane took benefit out of it. 1 time Goretzka got the benefit out of that. Harry Kane scores that 4th goal, and becomes 4-2, and then it's sort of dawned on the players with just about 15 to 18 15 minutes were remaining when Harry Kane scored that 4th goal, and it sort of dawned on the players, unfortunately, that it was not going to happen. Scoring 2 goals against this Bayern Munich team was going to be quite hard in those 50 minutes, and it's not like they did not try. I mean, they kept on going up until the last minute of the game. They kept on trying to get that 3rd goal, trying to get the 4th goal, maybe try to make this game a little bit interesting and put Bayern Munich under the pressure. But unfortunately for them, it didn't really happen, and they were not really able to score another goal, and Bayern Munich in the end ended up winning the game. And in my opinion, I would say in a fair result, if I'm being very honest with you. I mean, Bayern Munich were not really bad. As I said, it was really hard to differentiate between both the teams. It's just that, unfortunately for Flamengo, they gave away the ball. They created self-forced errors, and that's what really unfortunately led them to their elimination from the tournament. Apart from that, it was a game, in my opinion, which looked like it was if those errors don't occur. Of course, now it's if and buts, but it was one of those those games which could have really, went to penalties, and the winner would have been decided on penalties. It was one of those games. But yeah, unfortunately for Flamengo, they as you said, they created, self-destructed themselves, and they unfortunately got out. But as you say, credit to the team, credit to the manager Felipe Luis, the way that he carried his team, the way he managed his team. I mean, you put Bayern Munich under a lot of pressure in the entirety of that 90 minutes. You could see on the, especially when Harry Kane scored that goal, the relief on the faces of the Bayern Munich players and the manager and the fans, which were quite less. There were a lot of Flamengo fans, and huge shout out to the Flamengo fans. I mean, I at one point, anytime the commentators also said that it doesn't feel like it is we are in Miami, it feels like we are in Maracana, and I mean, you cannot get a bigger compliment them. They were really loud, they were really good. The atmosphere of the game was really good, and their team really stepped up and they really lived up to that atmosphere. They lived up to their expectations. At the end of the day, of course, Bayern Munich are the better team. They were the favorites going into this game, and they ended up winning the game. But as I said before, it doesn't mean it was an easy night for them. It was a hard night. It was a hard fought win. Bayern Munich would be proud of themselves. The Bayern Munich players, the Bayern Munich manager, they know Vincent Company, they know how hard this game was, and in my opinion, they would be a much more happier than PSG were, and in my opinion, they would be much more prepared in going into that quarterfinals. Let's be very honest. I mean, it was an easy win for PSG early on against Inter Miami, so they have not really faced that much competition, to be very honest with you. So they are going to face Bayern Munich in that quarterfinal, and winning a cup competition usually takes a lot of mental strength. Of course, PSG are the current European champions, but that was a different competition. This is a different competition. They had an easy ride in their round of 16 match. Bayern Munich had to really work really hard, physically as well as mentally. And I mean, sometimes in these tournaments, mental toughness is much more important than physical fitness. You could say at the end of end of the game, so many players were physically they were drained, and I sort of understand why they are. But as I said, sometimes the mental strength really comes into play, and I think that is going to be really crucial for them going forward in that quarterfinal against PSG. It will be an interesting game, but as I said, tonight it was about the round of 16, and PSG and Bayern Munich, both of them qualified. Again, unfortunate for Flamengo, but they were a really good and entertaining team, and I hope we see them in the next edition as well, because I really enjoyed watching them play. Congratulations to Bayern Munich, and they go into the quarterfinals and they face PSG. That is from me in this video. Let me know what you guys thought of the game. What were your views? Do you think Bayern Munich were lucky to get to go into the next round, or do you think they were they deserve to go through? Let me know in the comment section below. Like the video, share it as well, click on the notification bell, and of course subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to get to 600 subscribers before the end of July, so please go ahead and subscribe and help the channel out. Until next time, bye bye.